The following is paid programming. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of this radio station, its advertisers, or sponsors.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Dale Martin Jobs and Business Report, sponsored in part by Sunbelt Network, the place to go buy or sell a business, Shatter IT, and other successful business partners. If you're interested in hearing about the current employment environment, either as a job seeker or employer, have a job-related question, or simply growing your business, stay tuned and join the discussion at 803-1520. And now, here's Dale and Andrea.
Good morning, Western New York. Welcome to the Dale Martin Jobs and Business Report with the wonderful Andrea Todaro live here in studio at KB 1520. A new voice, a new choice where we talk about jobs, economic development, and the people that are making it happen. Andrea, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Dale. I've had a fantastic week. You know that you and I were hanging out at the Pearl Street Brewery just on Friday night, which was a fantastic time. What a great band. And I love their pub crawl tours, all about Buffalo. It was fantastic. And then I was also out at another pub in Batavia listening to my friend's band last night, which was great. And then at the Allentown Art Festival, which thankfully did not get rained out. So we had a really great time. I bought about 10 new outfits and a brand new pair of cowboy boots that I never want to take off. They were fantastic.
Sounds like a woman with a new attitude as well.
Exactly.
Getting ready for all the festival events.
Attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
So, that's been really great. So really checking out the art scenes in Buffalo, but, also just really excited about things that are on the horizon in terms of business developments, economic development in Buffalo, and people that are on the move and making it happen, which of course we'll kind of save for a later time in the show. But really, really excited without further ado to introduce our guest, because she is a fantastic lady I've known for a while. So I really can't wait to spotlight her today. Suzanne Perry. She is a radio host, publicist, event coordinator, and photographer. And she does something very specific in Buffalo that I think is a niche not many people have really introduced or addressed. She's really talking about domestic violence, how to overcome it. She actually coordinates a community-based nonprofit organization with a global message called Love Shouldn't Hurt, which I think is really beautiful. And they hold music events to raise awareness, prevention, education on domestic violence, as well as provide direct support to men and women impacted by it. So without further ado, Suzanne, welcome to our show. We are so excited to have you.
Hey, I'm
We're
here.
so psyched. So really, Suzanne, we want to know a little bit about how you originated this organization, how this originated, what the thought process was behind it.
Okay, well, I can't hear me.
Yes,
We can hear you just
All right.
fine. We hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's the only way I am is loud.
I was just going to say, subtlety is not either of our best features, is it?
Absolutely
I'm
not.
probably blasting too. We're both singers, so you have to project.
All righty. Well, unfortunately, I was a victim of domestic violence for 22 years, from the time I was 17 years old. So I kind of entered into this relationship. And this is the way it happens. It's not like you go on one date and you get punched in the face, and I don't mean to make fun of it, but it's not as clear cut as that. It's a very gradual process. And it starts just by a very, very charming presentation, and you enter into this, and I compare it to peeling layers of an onion. Before you know it, you're stripped of your friends, and you become stripped of your family and the things that matter to you, and this is a big red flag. The things that make you, your interest, if you're a musician or if you like to draw or paint, and they take these things away from you. So now you're left a naked core, and they stomp on you and spit at you at that point, and you're lost. So I pretty much went off the radar. I pretty much went missing for 22 years. It's really, really weird.
Unbelievable.
As the cycle goes, there's the data supports this. The cycle goes that people leave 7 times before they actually make it out for good, or if they're dead. As bad as that is, it's the truth. For me, I left and came back 3 times and then married him, and now people are like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Why would you ever go back? It's the biggest question. And the reason you go back is because by the time you break out, you're too ashamed to talk about it. You don't, it's not like I could go and tell my dad, this is what happened to me. I was too underground. I couldn't relate to people. And you're shamed. You feel guilty. Like, how dare you let this happen to you? Like, you're stronger than that. And you just don't know how to talk to anybody about it. So you're very, very isolated. And this is exactly what they do. So the reason you go back is because they are the ones who understand. So they will do anything in their power to push your buttons and pull on your heartstrings. They will make themselves cry. They will promise you whatever it is that triggers you, and you end up coming back. And then it's worse, and it's almost guaranteed. You take them back, you go through this honeymoon cycle, and it's the flowers and I love you and la-ba-dee-ba, and all of a sudden it's way, way worse. And this is, it's documented. It's just how it goes. So for me, though, I thought I would be dead by my husband's hands. I thought it was it. There was no way out. After the last time I returned, and this was really, really scary. He's 6 foot and I'm 5'2". I'm not that big. And he stood over me, and he like an actor, he forced himself to tremble, and he drooled, and he was very, very scary. It was in my face, poking me in the face, and he said, "If you ever leave me again, I'm going to kill your family, and then I'm going to kill you. Would you leave?"
Wow.
I was terrified. I was terrified.
And yet
So-
you found inspiration
Yes.
from that tragedy.
was scared to leave and scared to stay. What do you do?
A prisoner of your own heart and home, I can imagine.
That's what
Both
it
of those.
was. Well, one morning, our daughter, who was at the time 16, she said, "I can't take living like this anymore. You have to do something about it." Bam in my face. Oh my God. And I knew she was right. And there was probably no other way I would have ever gotten out. I agreed with her, but I told her, because I once found the strength to call the police and just say from work, and I just said, "What could be done? I need help. What could be done? I need him removed." When they told me, now laws have changed since then, but this was about 7 years ago. They told me in New York State, you can have a black eye and nothing can be done. But if you get kicked with a shoe, that the shoe constitutes a weapon. So, I almost lost hope at that point. It's like,
Well,
am
they
I
almost
supposed to
gave
go
him a
home and
shoe.
say, "Kick me, honey"? Really?
Exactly.
But so my daughter confronted me that morning, and I told her, "Okay, but only when I give you the signal. I need to have enough evidence, unfortunately. I didn't want them to come and not think it was warranted for an arrest. It was like a make it or break it. It has to be." Well, it was coming. So within 2 weeks, it exactly graduated to that. I gave her the nod, and she called, and the police came, and they came to the front door. But by this time, this was a Thursday evening at about 11:30 at night, and all the lights were off except for the TV. So you could just see like a blue light. And they came to the front door. I had to open the door and let them in. I went way back to the wall at the far end of the room, and they said, "I understand there's a disturbance here." And my husband said, No, my wife and I are just here having a beer. Tell him, honey." And I was like, "Oh my God, panic, panic, panic." And I was numb, and it was like, definitely a make it or break it. What do I do? I didn't say a word. I froze. Well, the police man shined his flashlight on my husband's face, at the can of beer in front of him, across the room to me, and I was bleeding. I had a fat lip. I had bright red handprints around my throat. They put the flashlight back on him, and they said, "Come on, beep, beep, you're coming with us." And so when I lecture, I go, insert applause here. So,
Sure.
so they took him, and that was it. So, they only held him overnight, but my daughter and I went down for orders of protection immediately, and followed through, because I promised I would never go back. So that was how I got out.
And many victims of domestic violence suffer alone, too. They suffer in that quiet agony and really find it difficult to reach out. So this was a pivotal turning point for you, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Especially your daughter, really talking sense into you. Very often, I think we will listen to our kids. They really have an enlightened point of view. That's
She
a little
threatened to
more-
run
yeah,
away, and I
well,
couldn't let my
yeah.
baby girl out in the cold, hard
Exactly.
world. So.
Exactly, because we have such an incredible bond with them. We want to preserve that. So that obviously was the kicker for you to say, okay, this is the incentive for me to get out. I
Yeah.
have to do this now. Isn't that really, that's a compelling and moving story.
It
It's
really is.
amazing. And so I can imagine you must share that. And before we get into the nitty gritty of you sharing that a little bit more in detail with other people and what you've created, we want to talk about people on the move.
Yes, we're gonna go ahead and move right into that particular
Yeah.
segment, and we're gonna come back and hear more of Suzanne's story, because, like you said, it's so compelling, and yet she took tragedy and was inspired to start her own nonprofit organization. And we want to
Yes.
hear more of that. Welcome back to the Dale Martin Jobs and Business Report with the wonderful Andrea Todaro. And today we have a very interesting conversation that's taken place, domestic violence and the creation of Suzanne's organization.
Yeah, OP Music House. Yeah, really, really impressive and compelling and incredibly heart-rending story, Suzanne. So we're so happy that you shared that with us today because, boy, did that ever just, it was gut-wrenching to listen to it. I mean, you really, you painted it so, I guess, palpably for the audience to hear. So, really to talk about how your story reached the media, because I know there was a surge of messages from people with similar hurting experiences, partners, parents, and people in positions of authority, with that kind of thing. So domestic violence, it doesn't just occur with one's husband, right? It occurs with other levels and other areas, other people in the community.
Yeah.
So, and parents, what have you. So how did you develop your organization, just to get to that?
Well, about a year after the separation, I just had gone through this. It took a year for me to find myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. I'd been gone since 1986, and it was really difficult. I did some really, really deep soul searching. And one Saturday afternoon, I was just sitting in the kitchen by myself, and I just had this really weird feeling over me, like I got to do something, and some force was holding me back. And all of a sudden, just like popping a fuse, it hit me. And I said, wow, I'm protecting his parents. Why am I protecting his parents? They should have been protecting me. And that was the reason that I was silent. I didn't want to create disrespect. So I was like, forget this. And I started to share my story. Well, yeah, my story, the people I started to talk to came back at me with this overwhelming similar stories. And they're like, wow, me too. And I know somebody, or I grew up with it. It was just crazy. But some of them they didn't want to talk about it. They said, well, I don't want to talk. I don't want to share I'm not ready yet. Would you be our voice? And that was when I went really forward. And I shortly after had this dream about this great big concert with all these people that I didn't know yet. Well, about 7 months later, that turned out to be the Exposure Concert. So I had created this nonprofit organization on the first business day of the new decade. And I'm thinking like Statue of Liberty, holding a great big torch to light up the new decade with unity and music and peace to show people, you know what? You don't have to stay in that cycle. You can get out and you can have a fulfilling life. So the first show, 43 bands came out of the woodwork. And I didn't really know anybody then because I was still kind of shy and just starting to get out there. But oh my gosh, it's just crazy. So here we are in the fourth year. Excuse me, I've been a member of the Chamber of Commerce ever since the inception. And it's just gaining momentum and speed. And we've got big hitter sponsors like
tons
Regal
of
Tip
bands.
Drumsticks. They've been there since day one. We have Yorkville Sound. We have Serto Brothers. Style and Tattoo, just phenomenal sponsors to be there every single year. So what I do is I use my story to reach people. So I have a very clever marketing technique. I would go to large venues with little toys, little trinkets. A lot of people out there still have them, I know. And I would buy little dollar trinket toys, go out to like Macaroons, big places, and just give them away. People didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, here, things with happy faces, like little games or rock necklaces, stuff like this. So they'd party. The next morning, whatever they went through, they'd pull that out of their pocket, flip it over, and on the back of that little toy, it says Love Shouldn't Hurt with my website and my phone number. So now nobody knows, I'm not targeting you. I'm not picking you out. I don't think you're beating your wife up when you go home. That way, it's just a friendly, sneaky, but
clever,
very
clever.
effective way. And that's how I reached a lot of people. They're like, oh my God, I woke up and I saw this. And so that's developed. I have this, right, the stage I'm at right now, I am incorporated, but I'm pursuing my 501c3, and I've been working with the foundation group, and we're on the verge.
That is just outstanding.
Yeah. And when is the Exposure Concert? I don't think you released that. When is that going to be?
It's June 28th through 30th. It's at the Cove, which used to be Page's Paradise Island. Great big, clean, spacious venue. It's awesome. They got 2 stages, one big main stage and a covered outdoor patio stage. wonderful menu. It's free. It's free all weekend long, so no excuses not to go. There's 52 bands that are signed up to play. And let's see. Oh, and we're live streaming it around the world.
Wow.
So the idea is we're exposing it.
And it's at 4701 Transit Road in Depew, right?
4701 Transit. It's Transit in Clinton. Yep.
And again, that date is June 28th.
Through the 30th. It's 3 days long.
3 days.
3 days, 2 stages, 52 bands, and you.
Has it always been that way, or are you expanding a little bit this year? Do you just kind of like expand every year? It sounds like you get more bands every year, right? More awareness?
Well, yeah, more awareness. I mean, besides the fact that I have purple hair and a really crazy laugh, people know me, and somebody called me the domestic violence lady, and that's pretty cool. Some people call me Buffalo's happy pill.
Exactly. And I love your motto. Find yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and be proud. That is so cool, Suzanne. And I think people really need to do that. Your mission, preventing further moral and societal decay by enforcing positive outlooks and attitudes, and through actions and words demonstrating that good in equals good goes around. I love that. Very
that's
cool.
all karma, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes
people
back
don't
to you.
understand why I'm not negative and why I'm not a man hater. It's why waste your time being negative? Why go back?
Yep.
Instead, I take that as what not to do again, and I want to harness that energy. I take that torture and turn it into a torch, and I like the way
Find a
to
good man
help
that
people.
treats you right.
Well, I'm very happy in my singleton right now. So.
Sure, exactly. I can tell you're
I'm
radiant
very, very
and
happy.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
just communicating with everybody and helping people realize it's not their fault. But the big deal is they're not alone. So many people said I didn't think anybody would ever understand. So through the phone and through social networking, I support people clear across the country.
Amazing.
And for our listeners out there, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Facebook.
Okay. Well,
You got a website, though, too. We know that.
I would invite you to visit the nonprofit's website, which is OP Music House, which stands for Orchard Park, opmusichouse.org. And if you forget, just put in exposureconcert.com. It'll still tag you over there. On Facebook, I'm Suzanne Perry 7. I've got a fan page at Susie P Rocks. And I'm on Twitter at Susie P Rocks as well. And there also is OP Music House on Twitter.
Yeah, and you have a radio show as well. You're a radio
The
host.
Hot
That
Jam
is-
with
oh,
Suzanne
yeah.
show. Yeah, I interviewed people like Brian Tichy and some really great people out at the NAMM show, Melissa Moyen, and I met Orianthi and Mary Peavy. I can't wait to go back next year.
sounds like a lot of exciting
Ball
things
of
going
energy.
on.
I love it. And Melissa Kate, my good friend, too, who was saying
Hey,
vying for a
Melissa.
spot on the show today. Anyway, so I know that we're going to be taking a break again really soon, Dale. This is exciting. Can't wait to get back to Suzanne Perry because she really has a lot to talk about when it comes to this exposure concert. Can't wait to hear more.
Yes, indeed. Well, you're listening to the Dale Martin Jobs and Business Report. We're going to get ready to take our first break. Buffalo, don't go anywhere. We will see you on the other side, and we have more great information coming from Suzanne.
Again, back to Suzanne Perry from OP Music House. Suzanne, I know you also do some presentations as well, and I know you're really, really hooked right into this exposure concert right now. Of course, we want to get more information out about that. But I'm just curious about your event coordination, photography, and your public speaking engagements, because I know you do some of that too. So talk a little bit with us about what you've done in the past in those areas, because we want to know all about you. I mean, you're...
I could go on for hours.
I know that about both of us. We'd be under the stars, right? Everyone would be tuned out. But anyway, as you were saying.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like a ping pong ball. I'm just like everywhere. But I started to just go out into the nightlife and see what was going on. I would do like some band photography. I used to write for Buffalo.com. I write for Yahoo. I have an Examiner. Actually, I have two Examiner columns. I write as the Buffalo Live Music Examiner and the Small Business Startup Examiner. I did have a telecommunications business, so I've run companies in the past. In March of last year, I started another company called Hot Jam Media. The reason I started that, though, is because for a nonprofit organization, I am not allowed to promote bands or companies that make money. You can't do that. So I started another company, Hot Jam Media, so that I can get paid to do what I do and promote bands, and it's all cool. So there is where I do, the radio interviews, and I actually constructed my own studios in my home. So I have one half of the studio is where I do my Hot Jam with Suzanne show on Fridays. And the other half is the band jam room. So I've got a couple drum kits in there and some guitars and microphones and the whole get-up. It's like super, super cool.
When I called you last night, you were jamming and preparing. I was
rehearsing Barbara Streisand, believe it or not.
I love her.
I have like this great, big, deep, almost manly voice, and I'm singing Barbara Streisand. And, people won't believe it. I'm a closet singer. I actually do have a record out with the help of Gaia Miranda, who I know is listening. In her studio, I've written all these songs, and I didn't know how to get them out. So she was like that channel to have the patience to help me to translate what was in my head to paper and to reality. So it's super, super cool. The musicianship is impeccable. I plan on redoing the vocals at some point, but it's called Pebbles. It's my first song out. We're working on some new stuff.
And Suzanne, are there any upcoming speaking engagements that you'll be, participating in?
No, because I'm doing everything with the Exposure concert right now, but I am always available to speak at businesses, schools,
You've done school appearances,
businesses,
yeah.
And oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I like to talk. And I also do voiceover work.
You were a teacher for the Junior Achievement Program as well.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
you're
I
the
just
schools.
graduated my 200th student. I just signed up this year for Junior Achievement, so I'm a volunteer teacher from kindergarten through 5th grade, and it's
What
such
don't
a
you do?
rewarding
What
experience.
don't you do?
I
You are a
don't
Renaissance
date.
woman. You got to focus on your concert and getting the word out there, right?
Yeah,
You got to be
right.
in that life of Riley first before you can go out and then find that person. And you know what? And sometimes just being single is the best way to be. More and
awesome.
more women in Buffalo are just opting for
I
that.
love it.
Having fun. That's great.
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
easy. I travel alone. I don't have to worry about, satisfying anybody. I leave when I want to leave. It's a great, great thing. But I do wanted to mention a couple of things. If you think that you are in a situation that you need to get out, I mean, first of all, call 911. But go with your gut. If something doesn't feel right, go with your gut. Don't wait. If somebody takes away the things that make you, that's a huge red flag. Extreme jealousy. If it feels like they're starting to control you and own you and they're monitoring everything you do, huge red flag. I want you to know that you're not alone. I do refer people to the Family Justice Center because I am not an endpoint. I am a bridge. So if I'm a support network, we'll talk to you, we'll help you to find yourself again, realize you are not suffering alone and you can have a very great life outside of that cycle. And I'm a prime example.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Andrea, actually, we talked about it on the beginning of the show, your tagline. Love yourself, be yourself, find yourself. I know I'm not saying it in the
And
correct
be
manner.
proud.
Be
Yeah.
proud. Yes. Can you speak just a little bit, share, your points of view on that before we have to close out today's show?
Yeah, well, the OP Music House's tagline is find yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and be proud. And again, that's self-reflecting. It took me a year to figure out who I was. I didn't know, I was 40. It's like, how do I look? How do I act?
To
I didn't know
uncover
what to
your
do.
talents and everything else.
And people just said, be yourself, but I didn't know how because I didn't know who myself was. So it was really starting at ground zero. It was very, very difficult. So once you reconnect with yourself and figure out, hey, you're okay and you are capable of love and of being loved. You are okay just the way you are. So that's number 2 is love yourself. Be yourself. Go ahead and be yourself because you rock and be proud of it. It's a great life. There's so many things to enjoy. I mean, I appreciate sleeping all night. It's very, very basic, but that was deprived of me. So, all these freedoms that people think that they're born with, they get taken away when you enter into a situation like that. But you can get out, and I encourage you to just be proud of who you are.
And just give your website away one more time to our listeners.
opmusichouse.org. You could find me, Suzanne-Perry.com, and on Twitter at OP Music House.
See you all the time on Facebook doing amazing things, Suzanne. I always see your pictures up there of concerts you've attended, people that you've helped in the community to rise above any of their afflictions and get beyond domestic violence. It's just amazing.
Because love
She's just
shouldn't
doing-
hurt.
she's
Thank
a
you so
light
much for
worker.
having me.
Thank you
This
so
has
much.
been
And for our listeners out
amazing.
there, I think this is something we should carry with us every day. And if I could just borrow your tagline once again and just express it again, find yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and be proud. The way you said it is so it makes me
yeah.
feel so warm inside.
It does, and we love it. And you've really uncovered all of your talents, and you're going to teach everyone else to do it as a mentor, which is really great to be the poster child for that in Buffalo.
Andrea, any parting thoughts?
Oh my God. You always put that right back on me, Dale. I'm just so excited about this, and I think we can go farther with it as well. We have to have Suzanne on a future show after she's done the exposure concert to talk all about it. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Thank you
I'm
again.
going to get back to the Allentown Art Festival.
Well, you've been listening once again to the fastest radio show in Western New York, the Dale Martin Jobs and Business Report, where we talk about jobs, economic development, and the people that are making it happen. And Suzanne Perry is an example of someone who has made it happen. Buffalo, have a great week. We will see you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday.
Thank you for listening to the Dale Martin Jobs and Business Report, sponsored in part by Sunbelt Network, the place to go buy or sell a business, Shatter IT, and other successful business partners. Tune in next Sunday at 10 a.m. to learn the very latest job and business news from around Western New York. Be sure to also listen to Dale's weekly feature on our sister station, WBEN, every Monday night between 7:15 and 7:30.